Hey folks, today we're on 12.1 sample space on page 330 in the green book. We're going to determine the sample space of an experiment, determine the likelihood of an event. We're going to use tree diagrams to find the sample space for two events, and then we're going to use the tree diagram to determine the likelihood of an event. Alrighty, an experiment is a performance of an action, such as spinning a spinner or tossing a coin or rolling a dice. Outcome is the result of that experiment, and then a sample space is the collection of all possible outcomes in an experiment. An event is any grouping of one or more outcomes from the sample space. Likelihood of an event is the chance of an event happening. Events that cannot happen are known as impossible. Events that must happen are certain, like I am certain that tomorrow will be Tuesday, or I am certain that my name is Allie. Events that are just as likely to happen as other events are called equally likely to happen. Events that are not equally likely to happen are simply called not equally likely to happen. Pretty simple. Alrighty, let's go to tree diagrams. You can use them as a visual representation that shows all possible outcomes of one or more events when they're combined. You can only use tree diagrams when experiments or events are equally likely to occur, and there are two or more stages. So, like, if you're spinning a spinner and flipping a coin, okay? Alright, so right here I have a spinner, and this is the same kind of spinner except for different colors at the top of page 331, okay? And if you look at that little chart there, it has spin 1, spin 2, and the outcomes, okay, and the sum of the numbers. So like it has for spin 1, it has 7. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to copy this in here. I want you to copy that chart into your notes, okay? So after you're done copying that chart with the orange heading where it says spin 1, spin 2, outcomes, and sum of numbers, hit play, and I'm going to show you what the tree diagrams look like. Okay, so I've also labeled my little spinner the same way that yours is in the book. So we have 11, 7, and then 9. So our first step in the tree diagram represents our first spin, or spin 1. All of these out here represent spin number 2. Okay, so it's kind of a compound event, or one or more events. We have spin 1 and then spin 2. Okay, so that's a tree diagram. Alrighty, we're now going to go on to using an organized list or a table. Okay, so using a table is kind of like, for an example that it has in the book, it says that Frank flips 2 nickels at the same time. What is the sample space for this experiment, or what are the total number of outcomes? Alrighty, so we'll have nickel 1 up here. Nickel 1, actually we'll put this nickel 2, sorry. Nickel 2 over here. We're going to have nickel 1, okay? So we're going to set it up like this. Okay. So for nickel 2, we're going to have heads, tails. There's only 2 options there. Same thing for nickel 1, heads and then tails. Okay. And then we're simply going to cross these. So we're going to meet them right here in the middle. So right here it's going to be heads, heads. Down here it's going to be tails, heads. For here, heads, tails. Down here it's going to be tails, tails. Okay, this is kind of similar, I'm hoping, to what you remember as to the Punnett square that we did in science class. I'm hoping you remember that. Okay, and then right in here, these are all of your possible outcomes. Okay, so I'm going to list them out here. We have heads, heads, and then we have tails, heads twice, and then tails and tails. Okay, so there's really a total of 3 possible outcomes that you could have, but it's more likely to land on this combo than it is to land on heads, heads, or tails, tails. I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm saying it's more likely. And you can see that here because there's a 50% chance that we're going to land on tails, heads. There's a 25% chance that they'll both land on heads, and 25% chance that they'll both land on tails. Okay? Alrighty. So let's do this. I would like you to finish your notes in your notebook and then do the first 2 and then try these. Okay, use your textbook for a reference, and then we'll go over this way more in class tomorrow. Okay, good luck, guys. Bye.